Hi everyone and welcome back to another of my videos from Norway. In this video I want to take you with us to Trolltunga, which is I think the most famous trail in Norway, and I truly loved it, but it was super hard and there are a lot of things that you need to be aware of before coming here. So basically this video will be super informative with all the details you need to make sure this is in general a successful day with your hiking and you don't have any issues or unexpected troubles at the parking or on the road. Anyways, as you can see, we are starting the day with an amazing sunrise. We are driving from Bergen all the way to Trolltunga. That was a lot. And on the screen you can see now the shuttle that we used from the parking number 2 to the parking number 3, but I will get into that a little bit later. I want to talk first about the weather. You can see that it was super sunny outside, and indeed it was so hot, but it was the middle of September. It was not supposed to be this sunny and so hot, but we were super lucky. If you watched my previous video, you saw that even in Bergen, which is the rainiest city in Europe, we had just sunny days, which was crazy. But anyways, we are starting now the hike. We did 25 kilometers in total with 1,000 meters in elevation gain, which is pretty tough, but it's not really that bad for 25 kilometers. We completed it in 7 hours, and including the breaks it was around 9 hours and a half. I'm telling you all this data from my smartwatch, and the crazy part was that I burned almost 2,000 calories, so it was an amazing workout. But anyways, about the weather, you can expect the weather to change a lot. In our case it didn't. It was sunny the entire day. We got sunburned, so just in case you are as lucky as us to get a lot of sun, make sure you get sunscreen and lots of water. But otherwise you should also get a lot of rain clothing, warm clothing, change clothes. You should also take lots of water and food, because this is a long trail. It can take you even more than 10 hours if you're not that experienced, so do not take it way too easy, because it was not. Anyways, during the season from the 1st of June to the end of September, you do not need a guide, but it is highly recommended. And also you should start before 8 a.m. and during the off season, so from the 1st of October to the end of May, you have to get a guide. You are not allowed to do this hike without a guide from October to May, so keep that in mind because it is very important. And then about the parkings, there are 3 parkings in total. The first one is the one that is the farthest away from the hike, and if you start from there, the round trip will be 38 kilometers, around 15 hours and 2,000 meters in total of hiking. From the second parking, it's 27 kilometers round trip, so around 8 to 12 hours and 1,200 meters in altitude. And for the last parking, the third one is 20 kilometers round trip, around 7 to 10 hours, and you have to climb just 800 meters. So from the second parking to the third one, you avoid climbing 400 meters. We started from the third parking, but we returned to the second one where we parked. So if you have a large vehicle, you have to park at the first parking, and you are not allowed to sleep overnight or do camping there. And there are shuttle buses that come from Oda to the first and to the second parking, and from the second parking there is another shuttle to the third one that we took uphill, and I will talk about it a little bit later. But anyways, on the first parking there are 227 spaces, and it costs 25 euros per car per day. If you book for multiple days, the price gets less per day, so you need to check on their website about that. There is no need for a pre-booking here, and it's open all year. The second parking has 229 parking spaces, and it costs a little bit more. It's 42 euros, and you also need to use a private road to get here, but the price for this road is already included in the parking. So if you park here, you do not need to pay the toll, which is 17 euros, but if you come here just to drop off passengers, you have to pay that toll. Anyways, now let's talk about the last parking, which is private, and it only has 30 spaces. I think you need to book that online, and I am not sure the price for this, but you need to pay the toll. Even if you are parking at the third one, you need to pay the toll between the first parking and the second one, which is 17 euros again. And also the parking here needs to be purchased online and in advance, so there are just 13 spaces. It's a really small parking. And also very important thing is that you can't drop off passengers there. So in my opinion, after telling you all these details that you can also find on the screen, in my opinion, it's the best to park at the second parking and then get the shuttle to the third one. The price for that is just 13 euros uphill and 9 euros downhill. You can also purchase that online to avoid queues, but when we went there in September it was pretty empty, so there were no other tourists around. We only purchased the uphill shuttle. Downhill we went by foot, and we were so tired. Do not underestimate this hike, because even though you are not climbing a lot, it is pretty difficult and it is very long. It's a full day of hiking, and the terrain is not really the best, as you can see right now on the screen. We climbed a lot on rocks, on small rocks, and it was pretty heavy on the knees and on the legs in general, and you have to climb a lot in your backpack. But anyways, the weather was so incredibly good, as you can see. I can't even believe it that we did not get a single drop of rain or just a little bit of clouds. We had amazing visibility. But anyways, this hike was so beautiful. You can see around that I'm filming. I mean, it really looks like it's on another planet. It was so disconnected from civilization, and there were no other people around us. And now that I'm looking at this video, it also reminds me a little bit of New Zealand. They also had similar views. So if you're into that, make sure you add Trolltunga to your list, because it's 100% worth it. But anyways, the hike, it was not really that difficult, but you need hiking shoes, because there were some portions on this trail where you had to climb a really steep hill just on rocks, and those rocks are really slippery when it is raining. But anyways, the views were getting better and better, and right now on the screen you can see that we are already seeing the fjord, and it was so beautiful. I loved it so much, and I was super surprised to see that it was not crowded at all. We also started pretty late, so maybe most people started earlier, I guess. But anyways, be aware that at the tongue, which is basically the viewpoint of the Trolltunga hike, there is a queue for taking pictures, probably from May to July or to August. It is very big, but in September when we went, it was, I think, around 20 people staying in the queue for taking pictures. It was pretty scary. I was super scared staying on the tongue, but anyways, you will see it very soon. For now, I'm filming just in front of me. You can see some people walking around there, and we were very close to the tongue. But anyways, one thing you need to be aware of is that you cannot camp anywhere around here. There is a map of places where you should do camping, but there are a lot of signs all around there, so it is really easy to figure that out. But anyways, I'm just showing you a few pictures from Trolltunga, because for some reason I can't seem to find any videos from there. Maybe I did not took any. I was too happy to admire the view, but I loved it so much. And I think we stayed there for around 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, and we ate something. We just relaxed after this hike, and it was really super lovely. The hike was very hard because it was super long, but with the climbing it was not really that difficult. There are 2 huge hills to climb, and then for the rest of it, which is around, I think, more than half of the hike, you just have to walk on a pretty much flat area. So do not get scared of huge mountains all around that you have to climb for 5-6 hours, because it's not really like that. But anyways, now that the video is coming to an end, I want to thank you so much for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like it and also to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video, still from Norway.